Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and the World Health Organization has basically given up on the coronavirus narrative, just as we suspected back in January would happen. And as this article goes into, as it says out of CNBC, asymptomatic spread of coronavirus is very rare, World Health Organization says. It says government response should focus on detecting and isolating infected people with symptoms, the World Health Organization said. Preliminary evidence from the earliest outbreaks indicated the virus could spread even if people didn't have symptoms, which, by the way, we said at the time was non-scientific. As it continues, it says, but the World Health Organization says while asymptomatic spread can occur, it's very rare. Yes, and they utilize the idea of asymptomatic cases to lock down the entire world and cause a global depression. And by the way, I mean, it was a CDC's own study that came out just weeks ago that said that the chance of you dying from coronavirus are 0.26%, though if you take away nursing homes, it's 0.2%, though if you consider the official asymptomatic rates that the government's now starting to process is 0.1%, which is the rate of the flu. And on top of that, if you expand for a margin of error and you actually consider the amount of people said to have gotten coronavirus and been asymptomatic in places like California, who are now, by the way, they have antibodies, that would be 0.04% chance of dying from coronavirus if you have it. And if you take away having it, it's 0.002%. But they lock down the world. And by the way, from the CDC's website, and they locked down the world over that. And you could see this article that we went into previously. Coronavirus does not spread easily by touching surfaces or objects, CDC says, but it still may be possible. Another thing that they claimed early on was the case, which led to countless businesses being shut down, mostly small businesses, not Walmart, of course, and carrying on. It's unclear why quality control did not detect this issue. Early CDC tests couldn't distinguish between the coronavirus and water. Yeah, because the tests were faulty. And we're going to go more into this in a moment. But first, make sure to hit that like button, check those links below, and join us on Flote.app as well as BitChute. Let's get off YouTube. We got demonetized for saying the very things that now the CDC and the World Health Organization are saying. Originally, what we've been talking about since January has basically been scientific, and we were told that we were Nazis, bigots, murderers, wanted to kill old women, all sorts of stuff like that. Going back to January, they threatened us and said if you dare talk about this issue anymore and don't follow the World Health Organization's guidelines, you will be demonetized. But we don't negotiate with terrorists being those that spread ideology via fear. So we kept talking about the facts as we knew them. And we got demonetized, and they've shut down most of our channel. They're deleting our videos left and right. So find us on BitChute and Flote and share this on social media to help get around the shadow banning. I should note that originally they said that 3.5% to 7% of people would die if they got the coronavirus. Obviously, not the case anymore, is it? But we're on to the next thing, the riots and the protests, right? Let's ignore that and then hope that a second wave comes out of it so you can be locked in your kennel even longer. I mean, this was obviously the greatest attempt to enslave humanity in the in all of humanity, since the beginning of humanity. This lacked any humanity. The amount of people that have lost everything because of this is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I'm pulling up this article here. Yahoo News. Coronavirus forces 100,000 New York small businesses to close permanently. And around 52% of all businesses, small businesses worldwide, say they will not be able to survive anymore after this. They're all permanently closing. 24% of restaurants, which already are not very profitable with the amount of regulations and taxes they have to deal with. And in places like Canada, we still see this perpetuate despite the fact that it's not even anywhere close to as deadly as I said. Deputy Prime Minister Freeland says safe restart of economy won't happen anytime soon in Canada. They're just prolonging it because they do not want to relent control. Because why would they? Where would they benefit from that? Of course, you can't forget that our friend Dan Dix of Press for Truth, who, by the way, just got attacked for just recording at a Black Lives Matter protest, he got attacked and had a bottle thrown at his head about a month ago for going to a protest with 12 people talking about how they wanted small businesses to open, and we're calling out the fact that Walmart was open but the small businesses were closed and beaches were closed and all these open vast places were closed for social distancing reason. By the way, social distancing came from a science project of, I believe, a sixth grader in 2006. So I mean, it's not even been proven by science, but nonetheless, he got attacked for that. We had articles like this out of CTV News in Canada. Should BC do anything about COVID-19 truthers flouting physical distancing rules? They called him a Nazi on Vice for doing that, a bigot and a racist. We just interviewed Dan Dix, by the way. It's up on our channel if you've missed it, probably because you weren't notified. And then you have people like Seth Rogen calling Dan an idiot. And you see this article that says Seth Rogen has some harsh words for the Vancouver guy defying the coronavirus lockdown. And as good old Seth Rogen, virtue signaling celebrity, says, you're a fucking idiot. Stay inside, to Dan Dix. Yeah, okay, just repeating the mantra. And by the way, now he's a big supporter and donating and everything for these protests with thousands of people, not 12 people, thousands of people for Black Lives Matter. And again, I'm all for the protesting against police. I'm not for social distancing because it's stupid. It's not scientific. But the hypocrisy is rich, isn't it? They just want to silence anyone that doesn't think like them, doesn't quote the line of the mainstream media. Grant Lawrence at the time said to Dan, 1.8 million cases and 113,000 deaths globally since January 1st. That's some poisonous Kool-Aid. Keep your distance. Ed the Sock says, you are such an idiot. And by the way, this is all to our friend Dan Dix. Ed the Sock says, you are such an idiot. There ought to be an anti-Nobel Prize you could be nominated for. Go home, drink some milk with best before date of May 2019. That's a scam too. Ed the Sock was funny in the 90s. That was just a bad joke. But anyway, I mean, the point is you have all these virtue signaling celebrities because they cared about that because they said everyone was a Nazi and a white supremacist for going outside in the number of 12, saying that those 12 people are going to kill their grandmother because they were against the potential of millions of people dying from a Great Depression, global depression. And it is political. It is completely political, as this article out of Slate says. Public health is political, and you can see nurses at the Black Lives Matter rallies. Physician silence is violence. So, again, to protest the potential death and starvation of millions, racism. To not support the rioting, racism. I'm confused. Is the narrative stupid, or am I just not getting it? Because clearly, to me, it looks like they are just controlling the minds of the masses with the media and getting people to repeat whatever they say that you should be repeating. Basically, repeat after me, Simon Says mentality. That's exactly what we're witnessing. The media said, be scared of these demonic, murderous, white supremacists who are, black, Mexican, Asian, and white, going out in the streets saying, hey, I've lost everything. I can't feed my family. Dangerous. Those people are dangerous. But, and by the way, and with everything we've mentioned, the coronavirus being absolutely minuscule compared to the flu now, it wasn't that way originally. The original numbers were different, but now we've had enough time to calculate the numbers, and it's insanely minimal in comparison. But now, at the same time, the television says, be mad at anyone that doesn't support these protests in the thousands. And our friend Dan Dixon, I feel for him, goes out, just films people, fair and square, interviews people. He put out one of the hardest hitting documentaries ever on police brutality 10 years ago. Most of the people at these protests were 5 years old when that documentary came out. Won many awards. Nobody knows who he is, but they attack him, call him a white supremacist. It just snowballs. Everyone starts calling him a white supremacist. I mean, the hypocrisy is reigning unbelievably, and this is just more evidence of a massive global psyop. And I don't know how much more I can take of it before I'm trying not to be extreme. I'm really trying, because it's not the people on the ground. It's not the identity politics. It's the government is a problem here, and they're enslaving humanity, and they're driving people against each other. They're dividing and conquering. That's how it works. Both of the movements are correct. Calling for people to be able to feed their family, that's a good thing. Calling for people to rise up against murderous police, good thing. Calling people who are going out on the street because they need to feed their family racist bigots and white supremacists for no reason, bad thing. Burning down small businesses, bad thing. Police planting bricks on the street, bad thing. Police instigating riots, bad thing. Police shooting tear gas at traffic filled with children, a bad thing. Police shooting rubber bullets at pregnant women, a bad thing. Police shooting people in the eye and making them lose their eyes for just standing there in traffic, that's a bad thing. And then the few people that go and break into some places, that's a bad thing. But listen, most people are innocent in this. Most of the people protesting are innocent. Most of the people protesting previously, in fact, all of them from what I've seen, were innocent, trying to feed their families. It's not black and white. And what we are seeing here is they are trying to confuse people, drive us against each other, make us hypocritical, stop us from being consistent. And therefore, we lose any form of opinion, belief system, ideology. Then we just focus on identity. That identity leads us to our slaughter, like sheep off a cliff. Inconsistencies reign, and no one has any idea what they actually believe anymore. And that's what concerns me the most, because the way people have fallen for this lockdown is absolutely insanity. I've been trying to get a suntan as much as I can during this quarantine out of civil disobedience. And then the mixed messages on both sides regarding the protests right now, complete insanity. It's all just deception, media deception, and it's working. Don't allow yourself to succumb to it. Anyway, as we learn more about how much we've been lied to, I really hope people start standing up. You gotta wonder how people will react when it's clear that everyone's lost everything. No one has jobs. The whole global economy's collapsed for something that kills less than the flu, and what the agenda was of those who are now trying to trace everyone, track everyone ever, put surveillance up everywhere, force vaccinate, force people into their home possibly for a second time, destroy private businesses and government coming in and buying up businesses like the IMF buys up countries or like China buys up countries. What was the goal? I think we can kind of get an idea. It was about control of the masses, of the minds, and physically and monetarily. And violently. Anyway, I appreciate everyone watching. Make sure to hit that like button, share on social media, and find us on Flote.app as well as BitChute. Get off of YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. Seriously, there's no point. They're taking down our videos left and right. They're taking down Dan from Press for Truth's videos. They are just rampaging at this point and just deleting anything that doesn't fit the mainstream media's narrative. It is creepy. It's Orwellian. It's like a Black Mirror episode. It's like 2020 is basically what would have happened if the Twilight Zone and Black Mirror had a baby. That baby's name is 2020. Now, anyway, I really appreciate everyone watching us today, and comment below what you think. I know most of you can't take this anymore, and we're having a hard time too. But we're going to keep you up to date with all the latest, as long as we're on YouTube, mostly on the other platforms. So join our new newsletter at www.iamband.com as well, link below. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here, OM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. We really can't do it without you. We've been so insanely shadow banned, about 90% at this point, and 95% demonetized. As Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, comes in and says that she is shutting down quote-unquote controversial content and cutting out the views on this controversial content by 70%. She's been bragging about it. We need your help more than ever in this battle for truth in information. You guys are what keeps us alive, so we really appreciate just even $1 a month makes a huge difference. If everyone could give just $1 a month, we wouldn't even have to worry about competing against the mainstream propaganda networks. You can also donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen for you to scan if you please, as well as in the comments and description. Liking and sharing makes a big difference as well. And finding us on alternative social media platforms like flote.app, that's flote.app, makes a huge difference. We're at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. Flote is replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one with encrypted private messaging and, of course, monetization on videos for creators, live streams with super chats in crypto, and most of all, no algorithm, because at the end of the day, it's all about reach, guys. This is all about actually reaching people with the message and waking up the public. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, all sorts of different platforms. Try to follow us on as many things as possible, because very soon this channel will very likely just be completely deleted from YouTube, and you'll never see us again, and you'll be stuck with only the mainstream networks. Also, come on out and see us at Anarcho Vegas 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada in July, where such speakers such as G. Edward Griffin and many others will be speaking. You could use promo code WHAM on your VIP tickets and save 10%, as well as buy extremely cheap tickets for just $20.20. You won't find a cheaper conference than this with such amazing names. Check anarchovegas.com for more information on that. We hope to see you out there. And anyway, I really appreciate all of you guys joining us. You make it possible for us to survive in this volatile, propagandized climate. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.